Lakers talk is on.
710 ESPN.
There's a legend right now playing for the Lakers in LeBron James where you just never get content. It's always about trying to win.
The Lakers are definitely winning the offseason, and it's almost time to start that run at number 18.
I said this joking around a couple weeks ago, but I wasn't really joking around. I said, I don't want to talk about championship number 17 anymore. That's old news.
I mean, it's boring now. Now we got to talk about championship number 18.
I say that joking around, but there's a reality to it. I mean, I'm being realistic as well. The Lakers are good enough to win another championship.
We gon' do it again. Let's go.
From the home of the world champs at LA Live, this is Lakers Talk.
Here's Allen Sliwa.
What is going on, Laker fans? What is going on, Laker fans? Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the show. Just finished Lakers Talk on 710 ESPN, and it's kind of like the post-game show of Lakers Talk, right? Where we just kind of go back, we analyze, we go through the stat sheet. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's get right to work here. By the way, while we were literally just loading up the show, getting ready for the show to start, some news comes out from the Los Angeles Lakers front. Shams Charania of The Athletic puts out a tweet. The Los Angeles Lakers application to exclude Luol Deng's salary from team salary books has been denied by the NBA. Sources tell The Athletic in the stadium. Deng is owed salary through 2022. So Luol Deng's still on the book, guys. We still got to pay off Luol Deng. Anybody that thought that, that was over, it's not over, but I understand why the Lakers were trying that. You got nothing to lose by trying it. Okay, so we got a lot of topics to get into. As you guys can tell, you look at all the topics below. I got my chat on here up as well, so I'll read off some of these comments as we get through the show. The dust has settled. So when I did the last show, I did one of these. It was on Saturday. Saturday, it was before KCP signed. It was before Marc Gasol joined the team. And it was before Markieff Morris signed. So it was just basically after Montrezl Harrell. And we've obviously had a lot of different things happen around the Los Angeles Lakers. And it seems like Lakers are always, in the conversation. What an offseason. I mean, just kind of simply put for the Lakers, what an offseason. What a free agency. What a trade to get Dennis Schroeder. And if you look at this Lakers roster right now, there's a lot of changes. Usually when you win an NBA championship, it's not common to have that much turnover with your franchise. Well, the Lakers won a championship, and think about who's not on the team, who's not returning from that championship team. And it's not like the Lakers won a championship and they're now rebuilding. No, they're competing for a chip again. But Rajon Rondo's not on this team. JaVale McGee, Quinn Cook, Avery Bradley, Dwight Howard is also not on this team. Who am I missing? Missing one player, and Danny Green. 6 players on that championship team no longer on the Lakers. So if we compare the roster from what the Lakers had this past season to what they have this upcoming year, there's a lot of changes. So I got a chance these last couple of days, and it's been fantastic. You got a chance to, we do these Zoom calls with the players. We got it with Rob Pelinka after the Lakers acquired Dennis Schroeder. Montrezl Harrell did it on, I think it was on Monday. Yesterday was Wesley Matthews. Today was Marc Gasol. So when you look at this Lakers team right now, compared to last season's roster, these are the things that I would notice right off the bat. Right off the bat, Lakers lost some vets. They lost some champions. They lost players that were incredibly, incredibly hungry. I mean, look at Dwight Howard's journey and the opportunity that he had to play for the Lakers, and he delivered. Dwight Howard was definitely somebody that delivered for the Lakers that, had an opportunity, seized on that opportunity, took advantage of it, and now he has an NBA championship. He's going to play for the Philadelphia 76ers. Look at Rajon Rondo and how important Rajon Rondo was for the Lakers in that deep playoff run that the Lakers had. What he did once he got there against the Houston Rockets and what he accomplished against the Nuggets. And then, of course, against the Miami Heat, especially in that clinching game, that Game 6, how big he was for the Lakers. I can go down the list of all these players that were contributing for the Lakers And the one thing I think the Lakers lost more than anything else is they lost veteran leadership. Guys that have been there before, have done it before. And that's going to be something that I'll be interested to see how this new roster kind of takes shape. And we know how much chemistry that roster had last season and how big that was from a chemistry perspective. You could say chemistry, aside from all the talent that the Lakers had, I can make an argument that chemistry was the difference of winning a championship and not winning not winning a championship. So the Lakers certainly lost some players in the offseason. But with all that being said, this is the reality of the roster that we have right now. The reality is the Lakers got younger and they got more talented. So I don't know what you want me to tell you. It's this is the best roster in the NBA. If anybody wants, and great graphics from Carlo there, if anybody wants to make an argument with any other team in the NBA, I think you're going to lose that argument. The foundation is there, LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You lost obviously nothing from your superstar perspective, which is the most important thing if you're going to have a chance to win a championship. So LeBron and AD remain. Those are the two most important pieces. And then you added talent and youth. So let me kind of explain what I'm referring to there. By the way, some of the vets that we lost were replaced with other vets. Some of the champions that we lost were replaced with another champion. But let me just go first with the talent. Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell on this Lakers team, if they were on last year's Lakers team, those would have been the third and the fourth best players on the roster, and you could put them in any order that you want. Those would have been the third and fourth best players. They would have. That's how talented they are. Part of that has to do with also that they're walking into the prime of their career. Part of that has to do with their style of basketball is advantageous to the Lakers. So take that alone, and all of a sudden you're more talented. Dennis Schroeder is an incredible upgrade at the point guard position, and my hope is that he ends up coming off the bench. I think that's an incredible upgrade. Okay, Montrezl Harrell coming in off the bench. He was the 6th man of the year for the Los Angeles Clippers. He now comes to the Los Angeles Lakers. How about the vets that the Lakers lost? I talked about the vets. Well, add Marc Gasol to your team, somebody that's been in the NBA. How many seasons has Marc Gasol played? I think he's played, what's he played? 12 years, 13 years? 13 years Marc Gasol has played for the Lakers. Wesley Matthews has played 13 years for the Lakers. By the way, Marc Gasol is an NBA champion. He's a player that has already won an NBA championship. He did it with the Toronto Raptors. Got a chance to listen to Marc Gasol today. Earlier today, and he said that why did he come to the Lakers? It came down to the opportunity to win an NBA championship. It was that simple. That's what it boiled down to for him. Wesley Matthews, we got to listen to yesterday. Wesley Matthews said he spent 13 years in the NBA. He knew that this would potentially be the greatest chance he has of winning a championship. So last year's roster compared to this year's roster, yes, there's a lot of turnover. But the turnover, I think, makes the Lakers even better than they were a year ago. And that team, or a month ago, really, that team from last season won a championship. So I think the talent is there. I think the superstars are there. I think the youth is there. I think the veterans are there. I think you have a combination of everything. So as I look at both of these rosters, there's some things we lost. But I think we got some of that back in some of the veterans that we signed. But more importantly, I think we got youth and I think we got talent, which, obviously is going to be key for the Lakers. So that's my comparison between the rosters so far for the Lakers. And it's the best roster in the NBA. I mean, somebody want to make an argument that there's a team with a better roster than the Los Angeles Lakers, go ahead and do so. But I don't know how you're going to make that argument. Lakers Wisdom on YouTube is saying Dwight is going to be missed. Real quick, let me say this on Dwight. I felt like Dwight panicked. Dwight panicked at the beginning of free agency. The $2.6 million deal that Dwight got with the Philadelphia 76ers, he could have got that at any time. I mean, that contract he was going to be able to get at any moment. Now, maybe Dwight Howard thought, okay, Philadelphia is going to be competing for a championship. The Sixers were going pretty heavy after him. Joel Embiid reached out to him as well. trying to recruit him. That's the only thing I can think of. But that was a very awkward moment with Dwight Howard where, you obviously thought he was going to be with the Lakers. He sent out a tweet about Lakers Nation. Then he deleted it. Then reports came out. The Lakers offered him a deal, but it was just like it wasn't an offer for him to accept. They wanted to make sure that the terms that they had to get approval for. So I don't know what the heck happened with Dwight Howard. I'll just say this. Yes, the Lakers will miss Dwight Howard. Maybe we can use another big, but I'll take our chances with the roster that we have. I guess there's no other way for me to put it. But I understand, there's a couple people on here saying that that they're going to miss Dwight Howard, and that part I understand. A couple fist pumps for my Laker people out there. A couple fist bumps to this offseason. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. All right, let me read off a couple here. Everybody's trying to inform me about Luol Deng. Guys, I already hit on Luol Deng. Luol Deng's going to be getting some money here the next couple of years, is what it is. Dwight panicked and took the first offer. I'm with you guys on that. So, anyways, that is my thought process on comparing the two rosters. This is the best roster in the NBA. I think the Western Conference took a couple steps back, and I think the Lakers took a step forward. So this is the team that was already the team to beat. They were already the championship squad. I think they got better in the offseason. And frankly, I was looking at the rest of the Western Conference, and we'll talk about some of the other teams, but we'll do that a little bit later in the show. Okay. I want to give some quick love here real quick, because this might be the last time that we do this, simply because, this is how sports works, and you win an NBA championship, and the roster that you had, there's some turnover, get into free agency. We're starting to get excited about the new roster. Just real quick, because we're spending time talking about the new additions, but can we just give some quick love and some appreciation to Rajon Rondo, to Danny Green, to Dwight Howard, to JaVale McGee, to Quinn Cook, and to Avery Bradley. Because this might be one of the last times that we talk about the players that helped us win championship number 17. And those players will always be Laker champions. And all of them had their own value. All of them were assets in one way or the other. All of them contributed to championship number 17 in their own way. And you guys know how this works. It's very simple. What was today's front page will be tomorrow's back page. And that's pretty much what's going to happen from this point moving forward. We're going to start spending a ton of time talking about, obviously, the Lakers' chance at number 18. But free agency happened so quick. And all these players that were a part of this Lakers team, it did not take very long for, obviously the Lakers to start moving forward. Rob Pelinka to be aggressive, makes the deal for Dennis Schroeder. Danny Green goes. Rajon Rondo, God bless him, got a 2-year deal, $15 million. Hats off to Rajon Rondo. Go make your money. Avery Bradley got a 2-year contract with Miami. JaVale really didn't have a choice. Neither did Quinn Cook. But for the most part, this might be the last time that we talk about some of those players. So I just want to give some love, because they were a part of this Lakers team, and this roster changed so quick. Give them the credit that they deserve. They're all champions. And if you ever see them in LA, you buy their meal. Because if you're a champion, you do not pay for your own meal in the city that you won a championship in. I just made that rule up. Okay? That's the rule. Somebody's saying about Dudley. I don't know if Dudley's coming back. I haven't heard anything about Dudley. That's the only reason why I haven't included him on this. So I have no idea what's going to happen with Dudley. So that's the reason why I didn't put him on that list right there. DP on YouTube. Nothing but love for Rondo, Danny Green, Avery, JaVale, Quinn, and Dwight, but we had to retool. By the way, that might be the best comment that I read this entire night. Nothing but love to them, but the Lakers had to do what they had to do. And I don't think there's any Laker fans out there walking away from this offseason saying, well, why did we make that move? And, why would you give up Danny Green? All of those players served a purpose to last season. And I actually really feel this roster that we have right now let's roll the ball out and take our chances. I love the team that we have right now. So they served their purpose, and the Lakers, they all got championships, they all got paid, and now they'll all get opportunities somewhere else. And now this Lakers team, with the foundation still the same, with LeBron and Anthony Davis, now we'll come out again and we'll take the chances to win another championship. Got Quinn Cook right there. By the way, Quinn Cook was a humongous Laker fan. I remember one of the pictures I'll never forget is when Kobe passed and everybody started coming out here to LA Live and to Staples Center. Quinn Cook was there, just in the mix of everybody. He grew up a Lakers fan. His dad was a big Laker fan. So all these players had, great Laker tie-ins, and we should appreciate what they did because they accomplished some great stuff. Okay. I want to ask Laker fans out there. There were a lot of moves that the Lakers made this offseason. Let me list them out to you. Okay? Lakers made a move to grab Dennis Schroeder. They signed Montrezl Harrell, took him from the Clippers. They brought Marc Gasol in. They signed Wesley Matthews. They grabbed Markieff Morris, re-signed him, and they re-signed KCP. So I think 6 different moves from the Lakers. Count the moves of re-signing players. Here's the question that I have for Laker fans. Which of those moves do you think were the biggest this offseason? Which of those moves do you think was most key and, ends up kind of paying dividends during the season? You can make an argument for a lot of these moves, but the one that you think was the most impactful. So start listing out what you think, and let me give you guys just my quick thoughts on here and the move that I thought was the biggest for the Lakers this offseason. By the way, wherever you're tuning in from, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, please. Would greatly appreciate it. If you're on Twitter or you're on Facebook or you're on any of these other platforms, subscribe on ESPN Los Angeles, subscribe on Allen Sliwa. We obviously appreciate you guys all being a part of the show, and we love doing these social shows. I love the interaction of doing these. So thank you for being a part of the show. But make sure you subscribe and make sure you follow us on all our channels here. Okay. The biggest move this offseason for me. Biggest move for me. I just think Dennis Schroeder is going to be so critical to the Lakers. What he'll give to the Lakers that they really did not have last season and didn't have the season before, a playmaker, a guard that can create for himself. I know there were times, Rondo can create for himself, but it's not going to be on a consistent basis. I know there might be times where you say, oh, look at Kuzma, take this guy off the dribble, or Caruso just created a shot for himself. But they're not real threats to do it on a consistent basis. To complement what the Lakers already have, I think the Dennis Schroeder deal is the biggest deal the Lakers had this offseason. All the deals make sense together, but I think the Schroeder deal on its own was just so big. And to have Schroeder potentially come off the bench and, average 15 to 18 points a night, to create for himself, to find ways to get to the basket, get in the lane, and just put pressure on guards, put pressure on the big men, get guys into foul trouble. The Schroeder deal, I thought, was the key for the Lakers. So out of all the moves that the Lakers have made, this offseason, the Schroeder deal is really a move that sticks out to me. I was putting up this question and I was trying to think in my head, like, all right, out of everything that's happened over the last week and a half, and there's been a lot. I mean, the Lakers have been so active over the last week and a half, and this is a team that just won a championship. I thought personally, this deal for Schroeder is going to be just so impactful for the Lakers, and I can't wait to watch him on a night-in, night-out basis. And I really, really, really think he's going to be a fantastic fit on this team, and he's only 27 years old. So let me look at some of your comments real quick. Somebody's asking how my eye's doing. I got elbowed in the eye in a pickup basketball game about a year ago, and people are still asking how my eye's doing. So my eye's good. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Okay, we got some Schroeders on here. Nada P on YouTube says Schroeder. Byron on YouTube says Dennis Schroeder. Okay, let me keep reading a couple more of these off here. Michael James says, my dog Wes Matthews on YouTube. Let me say this real quick about Wes Matthews. And I'll read off some more of these. The only reason why I didn't say Wes Matthews is because I think we had a player like that in Danny Green last season. And this might be a better version of Danny Green, Wes Matthews. A solid defender, a vet. I love that he hasn't won a championship because you know how important that's going to be for him to, look around the roster and he's seeing all these other players with rings and he's one that doesn't have one. So Wes Matthews is a fantastic fit for the Lakers. But I think we've had players like that on the roster. What we have not had is a player like Dennis Schroeder, at least on a consistent basis. All right, let me see what else we got here. Fist pumps here. I got you guys. Andrew Oda on YouTube, Dennis Schroeder. We need to strengthen the backcourt. Okay, I got a lot of people talking Montrezl on here too. A lot of people thinking Montrez was the biggest move. Aniket, Alfonso McKinney. Did not think an Alfonso McKinney was coming up in the conversation. Lakers got in the Cleveland deal. Even having Alfonso McKinney artwork. We even have a photo of Alfonso McKinney. We didn't know if we're going to use it tonight, but we come prepared, Laker fans. What do you think? I'm going to walk into the broadcast coming into the game tonight for our show, and we're not going to have an Alfonso McKinney picture? Okay, I actually didn't know we were going to have one on there. Carlo put that on there. Okay, let's see a couple more of these here. Okay, creates your own shot. Regular season Rondo was not the best. I got a couple people saying I got to catch up on these. Got to catch up on these comments here. A lot of comments coming in. Okay, I'm gonna hold off on. There's a really good topic by Maru1 on YouTube that I'm gonna get to in just a second. Okay, so the biggest move I feel for the Lakers, I do feel it was Dennis Schroeder. Even though every move that the Lakers made, there was a purpose behind it. There was a reason for it. And, I think the Lakers now find themselves in an incredible position. Let me read off something to you guys. You guys know, read off some of the age of some of the players for the Lakers. I talked about how important it's going to be for the Lakers to not only put themselves in a position to get more talent, but the Lakers got younger. So let me explain something here with some of these acquisitions, okay? Not just the acquisitions. I'll explain the roster, some of the ages on the roster. So Schroeder, as you guys see right here, 27 years old. AD, 27. KCP, 27 years old. Okay? Caruso's 26. Kuzma's 25. Montrezl Harrell is 26 years old. Talen Horton-Tucker, 21 years old today, actually. And then Kostas Antetokounmpo, 23 years old. We'll see. Maybe they don't use Talen Horton-Tucker or Kostas as much, even though I think Talen Horton-Tucker, I got a feeling, is going to get playing time this year. All the moves that the Lakers made, you now have a lot of young players on this team. So if, for example, you're not going to play LeBron that much to start off with, or you want to pace yourself with Marc Gasol and pace yourself with Montrezl or Markieff Morris, or pace yourself with Wesley Matthews, you actually have the ability to do it. You got enough young players and talented young players that I think are going to be able to kind of hold their own as we get through this season. So at least as we get closer to the postseason. So let's put it that way. Okay, let's do this here real quick. Let's do some roll call. So let's roll call. For those who don't know what roll call is, very simple. Where are you tuning in from? Are you here in Southern California? Are you somewhere in California? Are you somewhere in the States? Where are you in the world? We got Laker fans everywhere. So what I'm hoping for from Laker fans, just tell me where you're tuning in from. I'll give you a quick shout out. All right? Appreciate you guys tuning in. New Zealand. Just listen to where Laker fans are, okay? New Zealand, Koreatown, El Sereno, Commerce, California, Singapore, Simi Valley, Phoenix, Tokyo, Chicago, San Fernando Valley, Ohio, New Jersey, King Taco. You're lying. Still, I get King Taco every time. Echo Park, thank you for being a part of the show. Torrance, California, thank you for being a part of the show. Atlanta, Third Shift, UPS, Ohio, Russia Davidson, thank you for being a part of the show. Spring Valley, thank you for also being a part of the show. We got Laker fans from everywhere. So we, as always, love having you guys a part of the show. Romania, Camarillo, Puerto Rico. Keep putting these in. I'll try and read them off as the show goes, and we'll keep going from there. Argentina, Long Beach, Nebraska, Houston, Texas, Portland, Oregon. Laker fans everywhere. San Diego in the house. Pasadena in the house. Okay, so I want to go to Montrezl Harrell for a quick second. So I'm sure you guys heard this a couple of days ago on Monday. Montrezl Harrell, Toronto, Zimbabwe, Florida, they're everywhere. Okay. Montrezl Harrell a couple days ago, the Philippines in the house, did his introductory press conference. And he basically said that the Clippers, he didn't feel like the Clippers wanted him back. Do you guys remember this during the season? I thought these were key moments for the Lakers this past season, and I loved every moment of it because, you want to have players have a chip on their shoulder. So let me give you an example. South Africa, Vietnam, India, thank you for being a part of the show. Buckeye, Arizona. Appreciate you all being a part of the show. Antarctica, I don't even know if that one's real. If it is, appreciate you tuning in from Antarctica. Okay. So, Montrezl Harrell. Last season, there were moments where LeBron James, for example, didn't get MVP. LeBron James doesn't get MVP, and he talks about how he felt he wasn't mad he didn't get MVP. He was upset that he only got 16 votes, right? So from that point on, I remember doing the post-game show, and I'm like, I love the fact that LeBron's ticked off. LeBron's pissed off that he's got extra motivation now. Anthony Davis had extra motivation because his goal was to win Defensive Player of the Year and went to Giannis Antetokounmpo. The whole team had extra motivation because Rob Pelinka got 7th in Executive of the Year voting when, I think many Laker fans thought he was disrespected. He should have got more respect for how he helped assemble this team and the Lakers obviously competing for a championship. So I say all that because I thought those moments were key for the Lakers because the only trophy or individual award that mattered was an NBA trophy and championship, and LeBron ended up getting Finals MVP. So you kind of add all that together. Lakers had the last laugh. So why do I bring this up about Montrezl Harrell? I bring it up because here's Montrezl Harrell, a player that for a couple years was big for the Clippers, got Sixth Man of the Year award, and he feels the Los Angeles Clippers did not want him on their team. So his agent, Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, find a way to put a deal together with the Los Angeles Lakers. So why is that a big deal? Because Montrezl Harrell is not just coming to the Lakers and he's going to try to compete for an NBA championship. He's not just coming on a contender and there's going to be a lot that's expected from him. But Montrezl Harrell is coming on a team that was a rival, you could say, of the Clippers. When I say rival, what I mean is they're supposed to face each other in the Western Conference Finals. He thought he was going to probably go back to the Clippers. He thought they were going to run it back and try to get a chance to compete against the Lakers this year. He's got a lot of motivation. So I'm a big, big fan of Montrezl Harrell having an incredible amount of motivation coming into the season. And I think a lot of that is going to come with the fact that the Clippers apparently didn't want him to be a part of their team. And the big difference for Montrezl Harrell compared to what he had to do with the Los Angeles Clippers, he never played with a big like Anthony Davis. So what Montrezl Harrell is going to get a chance to do with the Los Angeles Lakers, is he's going to get the opportunity to literally just play to his strengths. AD is going to be the man. Anthony Davis is going to be the player that is posting up down low, hitting 22-footers, hitting 15-footers, getting to the free throw line, dominating down low. And all Montrezl Harrell has to do for the Los Angeles Lakers All he's got to do is be that dog that the Lakers need, be a guy that's grabbing offensive rebounds, own the glass, take offensive charges, grab lobs from Dennis Schroeder and grab lobs from LeBron and grab lobs from Anthony Davis and Marc Gasol and all these other guys. I think Montrezl Harrell has a unique purpose on this team, and I think he's going to deliver for the Lakers. And frankly, he's got to be as motivated as any other player simply because the team that he was playing with decided that they didn't want him back. So that's my take on Montrezl Harrell. Definitely my take on Montrezl Harrell. Okay. I got somebody asking me, why do they call Clippers our rivals? They're not. They're not. I know. In order to have a rival, you got to face a team that's in the postseason that you're playing against. And you got to have battles against them. And I know the Lakers haven't had that. But the one thing the Lakers and the Clippers do have, they are both in the same city. Both are incredibly talented. Clippers are going to be good again this year. So, that's why I say it. But I should not say rivalry. You're right, because it's not a rivalry when one side has always been successful and the other side hasn't. So they don't deserve to be saying that. Norwalk, appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Philippines, quick shout out to the Philippines. Okay, let's keep moving on here. Laker fans, I think I got my starting five. I think I got my starting five. I think I'm ready to go. I know it's really early. And I know we probably shouldn't be talking about starting fives right now. But I think I got my starting five. And I have absolutely no idea who's going to end games because there's an incredible amount of talent on this Lakers team. So I don't know who's going to end games. But I'm going to give you guys my starting five real quick. Okay? If you guys want to give me your starting five, throw it on here. James, I got you. I got you, James. Can't wait. Thanksgiving tomorrow? Are you kidding me? You know how much food I eat on Thanksgiving? I'm a mess. It's an absolute mess. I'm thinking about going in for my second plate while I'm still eating my first plate. Who does that? I'm thinking about if I eat early enough, I could still squeeze in another meal later in the evening. Thinking about dessert when I'm eating turkey. It's an absolute mess. Absolute mess. Okay, I think I got my starting five. Starting five. I'm going to go Marc Gasol at center. Somebody's asking how tall I am. I'm 6'9". 6'9". Could be drafted tomorrow. At any moment, I could be drafted. I'll go Marc Gasol at center. I'll go AD at the 4. LeBron at the 3. And I'm going to go a backcourt of KCP and Wesley Matthews. That's my starting five, Laker fans. That's my starting five right now. And I know Laker fans, some of them are going to hallucinate. Some going to say, how is Dennis Schroeder not in the starting lineup? Or how is Montrezl Harrell not in the starting lineup? I think strategically you actually don't want them in the starting lineup. I think the Lakers will have so many options to go to. But if you start the game that way, think about the Lakers bench. Can I explain to you guys what the Lakers bench would be if that's your starting five? If your starting five is KCP, Wesley Matthews, LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Marc Gasol, coming off the bench is Alex Caruso, Kyle Kuzma, Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, Markieff Morris, Talen Horton-Tucker, who I think is going to get PT this year. Am I missing anybody? Who am I missing? I don't think I'm missing anybody. How stacked is that 10, 11 guys? I think it's incredibly stacked. And, I'm already making starting five bids. Now, to end the game, to be honest with you, I have no idea who's going to end the game. I have no idea who's going to end the game. There's so much talent on this Lakers team. I got to imagine, look, Dennis Schroeder will be in at the end of the game. Probably KCP will be in at the end of the game. And, depending on matchups, maybe Montrezl Harrell is in and Marc Gasol's on the bench. But the Lakers got options. Let's put it that way. Kuzma, Caruso, Wesley Matthews. I mean, Lakers got options. So it's going to be a fun season. Let's just put it that way. I said it to start the show. Let me say it again. This is the best roster in the NBA, and I don't really think you can make that much of an argument where you're talking about superstars, you're talking about vets, you're talking about talent, you're talking about youth. There's literally a perfect array of players for the Lakers. So that's what I got right there. Okay, now I cannot read the final one here. Am I on questions now? I cannot read it. Am I on questions again? Yeah, the way it's set up here. I can't read the final one. Okay, let me take some questions from Laker fans. So let's do some questions from Laker fans. Whatever question you have on your mind, hit me on the chat. And if I like the question, I'm going to read the question. If I don't like the question, I'm going to pretend I didn't see the question. And I'm just going to skip right over it. All right, so send in your questions here. All right, what do we got here? Okay, this is a good one. Mandalay 5 on Periscope. Who's the second best roster in the NBA? So somebody earlier had said, are you still scared of the Clippers or something along those lines? Okay. Clippers are the second best team in the Western Conference. All right, so let me just put that out there. Now, I think they overpaid for Marcus Morris. I'll take Markieff Morris's league minimum over a 4-year, $64 million contract for Marcus Morris at age 31 years old, 10 out of 10 times. I think them losing Montrezl Harrell, obviously that was a motor guy for them. That was a really good sixth man for them, sixth man of the year. But I think the Serge Ibaka deal was a savior to them. I think they really needed Serge Ibaka on that team. And Ibaka just might be a better fit because he's a veteran. He's a champion. He's going to help with chemistry-wise, played with Kawhi Leonard. One of the things that the Clippers were, the reason why they lost this past season, they just didn't have chemistry. They didn't have, purpose. And I thought the Lakers did. And I thought that was a big difference. So I don't think the Clippers have the second best roster in the NBA, but I think they'll be the second best team in the Western Conference. Don't forget, too, Denver took a step back. They don't have Jeremy Grant. The East is actually going to be really good. I like what Milwaukee did. Brooklyn's going to be good. Miami will be back and retooling. So there's some teams in the Eastern Conference that are going to be able to put up a fight. I know I'm missing an Eastern Conference team. Toronto took a step back. They lost some players, so we'll see what happens with them. Okay. Once again, just a quick reminder, subscribe to the channel, follow us on all the platforms. We greatly appreciate it. If you like what we're doing here, give us a thumbs up or a like on Twitter, YouTube, whatever the case is. Han C has on YouTube's got a fantastic point. Looks good on paper, but let's see if it translates on the court. You're 100% right, by the way. You're 100% right. And that goes with the Lakers, too. On the Lakers, things look good on paper, but at the same time, we got to see if it mixes together on the court. All right, Laker fans, I apologize on the connection here. It looks like we're in 1994 AOL or something. What is going on with the connection here? No idea what's going on with the connection. All right, let's read a couple more of these off here. All right, let me find a good one here. What about Caruso and Morris? This is on YouTube, MXG TV. Markieff Morris is going to be used very similar to the way I think he was used last year when the Lakers got him in the buyout market. Where it makes sense to use him, they're going to use him. If there are matchups where the Lakers go small, if there are opportunities, Montrezl Harrell is going to play a lot of that role now that Markieff Morris was playing, but Markieff does things Montrezl can't. Markieff can hit a jumper. Montrezl is not stepping out 17, 18 feet from the basket and hitting jumpers. So that's that's a big difference right there. As far as Alex Caruso, Laker fans, I'm as excited about watching Alex Caruso as I am with any other player on this Lakers roster. Here's a dude that just came off a championship. We saw his toughness, his grit. And now he's going to come in incredibly comfortable on this team. He's returning again, a player that now feels like, he's gone through the gauntlet of what the playoffs are like. So Caruso is going to be fantastic for the Lakers this year. Caruso is going to be that pest that wants to guard other teams' best players, him and KCP. Caruso is going to be fantastic this year. So don't worry. Caruso is going to get a ton of playing time this upcoming season. So don't worry about that. I got somebody, VE on YouTube, saying Gasol cancels out their Ibaka acquisition. Could be. But Marc Gasol, his value to the Lakers is different for what Serge Ibaka's value is to the Clippers. So trust me, Clippers needed a guy like Ibaka. So that and a lot of it's not going to be just what Ibaka does on the floor. I think just locker room champion vet. I think that's how he's going to help. But Marc Gasol is going to be great. Marc Gasol talked to the media earlier today. We actually put up a video on Instagram. One of his answers, I asked him what it's going to be like playing alongside Anthony Davis. And let's just say he's looking forward to that. And Marc Gasol is such a freaking smart player. He's been in the NBA for a long time. He's been one of the better passing big men in the NBA. But he's up there in age. So whatever you used to get from Marc Gasol, you're going to get it, but you're going to get it more limited, right? Limited time-wise. All right. Let me read off a couple more here, and then we're all getting the hell out of here, and we're going to start enjoying our Thanksgiving. By the way, quick shout-out, Power Pro Plumbing, Heating, and Air, a partner here on 710, a partner with Lakers Talk. Can't thank them enough. They're a company that is locally owned. They make it happen for our 710 listeners. So if you're here in Southern California, you ever need their services, go to Power Pro. They actually make a lot of this stuff happen. When we get partners like this, we have the ability to do these shows. So thank you to Power Pro. Thank you to Power Pro. Okay, 2 more, and then we're getting the hell out of here. All right, 123 ASD YouTube. Do you think LeBron can get more easy assists from Gasol and Harrell than from McGee and Howard last season? It's a good question. I actually like that question. JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard, which I'm not going to undermine. I think losing, I wish we had one of those two big men, where you still had that huge size advantage over a lot of teams. One of the things that those players did was they had the ability, the only time they scored was if it was around the basket. So if JaVale McGee scored, it's because LeBron got him the ball because a double team came or the defense collapsed on him. Same thing with Dwight Howard. He got some of those lobs. I think Marc Gasol is going to be able to stretch the floor for the Lakers. So, when a big man can shoot 18-footers, 22-footers, that's going to be a great asset for the Lakers. Montrezl Harrell, I hope the Lakers don't use Harrell where they're posting him up down low to go to work. I hope they use Montrezl Harrell as in you got to go get your 15 to 18 points a game by pure hustle, by getting lobs, by grabbing offensive rebounds, things along those lines. Montrezl Harrell is a nice player, but he's got holes in his game. He's raw. He's not, one of the things I loved about Dwight Howard this year, Lakers never posted him up. It was like, if you want to get buckets, you're going to have to do it by creating for yourself. And it's not going to come by us throwing the ball down to you and you go get a basket. So that's what I'll say on that. Okay. Final one. Who gets the final question? I had to throw in the AOL comment. All right, let me see here. Final one before we go into our Thanksgiving break. All right, scrolling through here. Okay, let me do this one. Somebody's asking me to explain the Luol Deng situation. Brighter hands on Periscope. I'll try to explain it as best as I can. Very simple. So Lakers were trying to avoid having to pay. They stretched Luol Deng's contract out. I think they stretched it out over 3 years. They're paying him $5 million a year in what we call dead money. The dead money is it goes onto your books, but it's stretched out over 3 years, so $5 million a year. And the Lakers were hoping to avoid, I think, having that included in their book, something along those lines. The NBA said, thank you for trying. We appreciate the participation, but you're going to go ahead and pay that money, and Luol Deng's going to remain on the contract on your books for the next couple of years. So it is what it is. Lakers have done a good job kind of juggling the, obviously the free agency market and how they're working all their contracts. The big question I got for the Lakers is this one, and we'll leave off on this point. Keep a close eye on what Anthony Davis ends up doing. I hope AD signs a 2-year contract with the Lakers. And I hope that he lines up his contract identical to LeBron James, where it's a 2-year contract and there's an option on the second year. Because LeBron has 2 years left on his contract with an option on the second year. The reason why I want these two to be lined up together is because they can walk into next offseason, opt out of their contracts with the Lakers, and then go on this free agency tour and try to bring in another all-star. And the way they'll be able to do that is they'll take less money to try to bring in another star. So what are some of the players? I talked about this during Lakers Talk. What are some of the players that are going to be available next summer? Giannis, if he doesn't sign his max deal. Kawhi and Paul George, they'll have player options. Rudy Gobert, Victor Oladipo, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin both have player options. There's some big-time players available next summer. And pretty much all the players that I'm talking about would be the third best player on this team. So keep an eye out for Anthony Davis, what he does on his contract. Potentially Anthony Davis, if he signed a 2-year deal, gives the Lakers some flexibility. And who knows, maybe by tomorrow he ends up signing a 5-year deal. But that's my wishful thinking of, thinking of the future for the Lakers. All right, Laker fans. That's all we got. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I wish you all a fantastic Thanksgiving. Hope you guys get some great time with the family. Be safe. Get in there when you start feeling like you're getting full on that meal. You got to get right through it on Thanksgiving. It's mind over matter. And then you got to get ready for that second plate. And then maybe take a little bit of a break. You know what I mean? A halftime type of thing. Come back at night. Come back even stronger. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Hope you guys all enjoy Thanksgiving. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Fantastic 10 days for the Lakers. What a free agency for the Lakers. What a time for the Lakers right now. They'll be the favorite to try and go back-to-back. Hope you guys have a great few days. Keep tuning in to 710 ESPN. Follow us on all our platforms. And we'll get back at you on Monday. Another Lakers talk on 710 ESPN. I'll go 7 to 9. And then followed up with a social show. So thank you for being a part of the show. Have a great Thanksgiving, LA.